A sixth Olympic medal for Taiwan, and it's the turn of the country's weightlifters to set new milestones in Paris. After a magnitude 7.1 tremor in Japan, seismologists warn a potential mega-quake could be imminent. A call for dignity. Relatives of Vietnamese refugees massacred by Taiwanese soldiers in 1987 are asking for a reburial for their loved ones. Plus, love knows neither boundaries nor gender. We examine a cross-strait gay couple's fight to get married. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Betty Chen. We begin in Paris, where Taiwan's weightlifters are looking to raise the bar at the Olympics. They've begun competing, with one already medaling in her event. Leslie Lieyu is in the French capital with the latest.
Taiwan now has 6 medals at the Paris Olympics. Weightlifter Kuo Hsing-chung managed to take bronze in the women's 59-kilogram event on Thursday. She managed to lift 105 kilograms in the snatch, then she lifted 130 kilograms in the clean and jerk, giving her a combined score of 235 kilograms lifted.
觉得有拿到铜牌也很开心呐，对，然后就是至少在这一届的59公斤量级里面，其实还是站得上颁奖台。
Guo finished behind China's Luo Shifang and Canada's Maud Sharon, who took gold and silver respectively. During Guo's final lift attempt, she had an opportunity to win the silver medal. Guo could have lifted 132 kilograms to overtake Canada, but she went all in and attempted 137, which would have kept her in gold medal contention with China. Guo is a 4-time Olympian and 3-time Olympic medalist. She won gold at the Tokyo Olympics, and Paris may mark her last Olympic Games.
就把它当作最后一届赛局嘛，然后也希望自己能够享受这样的舞台，然后当然就是跟教练说，就是不用管说现在是铜牌银牌，我们就是要就是最后一局了，然后想要拼拼看。
Also in weightlifting, Fang Wanling competed in the 49-kilogram event on Wednesday, but did not medal. However, during her competition, she broke Taiwan's national record for a snatch in her category, lifting 86 kilograms.
我跟家人都感觉到非常的开心，我们也很兴奋，因为是在比赛中突破自己。
With the addition of Thursday's bronze, Taiwan's official medal tally at the Paris Olympics sits at 1 gold and 5 bronze. Howard Zhang, Lian Lian, and Leslie Lieyu in Paris, France for TaiwanPlus.
With more on Taiwan's medal winners and what to expect in upcoming events, Cindy Chi is here in the studio.
Taiwan has bagged a total of 6 Olympic medals. 1 gold in the men's double badminton, and then 5 bronze in gymnastics, shooting, 2 in boxing, and then the latest one in weightlifting. As for weightlifting, that is all thanks to Taiwan's top weightlifter, Kuo Hsing-chung, who lifted a total of 235 kilograms in the women's 59-kilogram category. And while that is just 1 kilogram behind silver medalist Maud Sharon from Canada. This time is Guo's 4th Olympic and 3rd Olympic medal. Previously, she won gold in Tokyo, and before that, bronze in Rio. Meanwhile, Taiwan's only representative in Taekwondo, Luo Jialing, has been defeated by Letitia Awoon from Lebanon in the round of 16. During the match, it was obvious that she was affected by her ankle injury that she has been trying to recover before the Games. We take a look at what she said after the match.
就是觉得很可惜啊，对，因为其实也是准备了很久，然后大家就是也是一直都为我们加油，对，那最后也是很可惜，就是没有办法继续有下一场的比赛，对。
Later on Friday, we have weightlifter Chen Wenhui, who is set to compete in the women's 71-kilogram category. She previously got bronze at the Tokyo Olympics in a lower weight class. And then over the weekend, all eyes are on Lieyu, who has her eyes on gold. She is set to compete against Julia Ceremeta from Poland in the women's finals in the women's 57-kilogram category. No matter what she gets, if she wins or loses, for sure she'll get silver. And this also marks her as the first Taiwanese to make it to the finals in boxing. For more Olympic updates in the coming days, stay with TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for the latest update, Sandy. Looks like another successful day for Taiwan at the Games. And you can catch all of our Olympic coverage on the TaiwanPlus website. Japan has issued a mega-quake advisory for parts of its Pacific coast after a magnitude 7.1 earthquake on Thursday. A strong interest reports there's no way to predict whether Thursday's earthquake could trigger another bigger disaster, but officials are urging caution.
Thursday's magnitude 7.1 earthquake in southwest Japan has raised fresh concerns about a much bigger disaster hanging over the region's future. Officials are warning another major quake may be on the way, and while they say nothing certain, they've issued Japan's first ever mega-quake advisory for the region just in case.
ただし、新たな、大規模地震が発生する可能性は平常時と比べると高まっていますけれども、特定の期間中に大規模な地震が必ず発生することをお知らせしているものではございません。今後、政府や自治体などからの呼びかけ等に応じた防災対応を取っていただけるようにお願いいたします。
The question is whether this earthquake could be the big one. Stretching 800 kilometers off Japan's Pacific coast is a seismically active zone called the Nankai Trough. It can produce earthquakes of magnitude 8 and higher. It's been quiet for nearly 80 years, but there's a 70 to 80% chance at least part of it will snap violently in the next 30 years. The predictions for a worst-case scenario are grim. A 2012 estimate puts the dead at over 300,000, dwarfing the 18,000 killed in Japan's 2011 earthquake and tsunami. So far, there's not yet proof of a link between Thursday's earthquake and this future disaster, but officials are still urging caution.
この地震で揺れの強かった地域につきましてはですね、また同規模程度の地震が起こるかもしれませんので、まず1週間程度、特に今後2、3日の間、注意いただければと思います。また、南海トラフ地震への影響という意味ではですね、
For now, officials are calling people under the advisory to fix furniture in place, learn where their nearest evacuation points are, and plan out how to reach them and family over the coming week, in case disaster comes. Alex Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
President Lieyu says a range of solutions is needed to address climate change, possibly including nuclear energy.
能源议题绝对不是简单的。只是反核或永核的是非题，在国家治理中的每一个决策，势必都是多元的选择题，甚至复杂的多选题。
Lai was speaking at a first meeting of a National Committee on Climate Change. His Democratic Progressive Party advocates a nuclear-free homeland platform and has worked to decommission Taiwan's nuclear power plants. But Lai has made statements indicating he might be open to keeping some nuclear in Taiwan's energy mix. Environmental Minister Peng Qiming says the committee aims to propose a combination of policy options for adapting to new climate realities.
现在防灾、净零跟调试要三位一体。 调试呢，可能它的复杂很多，需要强化风险评估跟提升它的经费配置。
Relatives of Vietnamese refugees killed on a Taiwan-governed island in 1987 are in Taiwan to call for their lost family members to be reburied. Though the full facts around what happened are not known, these relatives say they have come not for retribution, but to ensure dignity for those they lost. Louise Watt has the story.
It's over 37 years since soldiers on the Taiwan-governed island of Lieyu opened fire on a boat full of Vietnamese refugees. The military says 20 people died, including women and children, but relatives of those killed say the number was actually 24. This sensitive island, just kilometres from the Chinese coast, was then closed off to outsiders. But even under the rules of the day, the soldiers stationed there were supposed to arrest and deport intruders, not attack them. Those responsible for the killings were court-martialed, and the military has offered an apology. But questions remain about the full facts of the incident. Now, relatives of those killed are at the site of the massacre, accompanied by military personnel. They say they want closure and a dignified reburial for those who died.
Tôi không đến đây để nhằm mục đích lên án chính phủ hoặc quy trách nhiệm cho bất kỳ cá nhân nào trong vụ án này. Tôi tin chắc rằng chính phủ Đài Loan và nhân dân Đài Loan sẽ có hành động cụ thể để an ủi những nạn nhân trong vụ án này.
One member of Taiwan's government watchdog, Kuo Hsing-chung, says that's not enough.
我觉得家属有权利要求真相，国王不能够在这个6个月、半年内啦，他能够再提出一个行政调查报告。
They say a new look into the killings is the way to answer lingering questions and offer closure to the relatives of those who lost their lives. Luffy Lee, John Van Trieste and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
This week, Taipei hosted the Asia Blockchain Summit, focusing on blockchain and AI technologies. The event featured a full-day summit led by Taiwan's former digital minister, Audrey Tang. Known as the Plurality Summit, discussions focus on how to use technology to improve democracy. Joining Tang on stage was American actor and founder of media platform Hit Record, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. TaiwanPlus reporter Chris Gorin set out for an exclusive interview with Gordon-Levitt to talk about his trip to Taiwan and views on technology and democracy.
So I understand this is your first time in Taiwan. What brings you here this time?
My first time ever in Taiwan. I'm so happy to be here. I was invited here by Audrey Tang, whose book Plurality has just come out. It's one of my favorites that I've read in a long time. It makes me optimistic about the future of technology and democracy in ways that I haven't felt in years, to be honest. And when she invited me, I jumped at the chance.
Yeah, well, you shared the stage with her at the Plurality Summit. Tell us some takeaways from the summit that you found.
Speaking as an American, in my country, people's faith in democracy is at a low point, sadly enough. People don't believe as much in the institutions of democracy and the idea that the people can really be a part of governing themselves. It's the whole idea of the United States of America. And here in Taiwan, we're seeing an example of people genuinely, legitimately having a say in what their government does. The systems that Audrey has designed and implemented here in Taiwan, I think, have allowed people here to come together over their differences, have productive discussions, find consensus, and have those ideas ultimately make their way into government and policy. It's incredible to see. It's really uplifting for me.
Was there any of the particular, platforms or steps that Audrey had proposed that you'd like to see implemented back in the States?
Yeah, well, for example, social media that's coming out of Silicon Valley in the United States, it really amplifies differences. It amplifies people hating each other, arguing with each other. Why? Because arguing and that kind of thing tends to make more money for their advertising models. But the sort of equivalent social media systems that Audrey's put in place here in Taiwan actually amplify consensus. You get more attention on the feed. Your post is more likely to rise to the top on the social network if you're helping build bridges, not if you're helping tear the other one down. And that kind of simple change can really make a big difference. And when I first heard Audrey describing it, I found it so remarkable that I wanted to learn more.
So your company, Hit Record, actually produced a pretty popular video here in Taiwan called Lost in Taiwan in 2020. And that was a collaboration of 150 different artists. Tell us, what does the process for a collaborative film like that look like?
Well, that short film, Lost in Taiwan, it's funny, people have asked me here, so welcome back to Taiwan because you shot that short film in Taiwan. And in fact, this is my first time here in Taiwan. And we did produce that short film, but I wasn't here shooting it. It was made in a different way on this online platform where people were coming together on our website, and different people wrote different lines about their experience of Taiwan. I think a lot of those writers were people from here who lived here. And then different actors would perform those lines, and different people would shoot video around the country and contribute all of those things together. And eventually they all got edited together into the montage short film.
Yeah, and the business model actually includes a way to kind of pay all of these people in a fair way. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's one of the things that bothers me most about some of the bigger internet platforms is we all contribute our data, we contribute our content to these platforms, and you know, Facebook, etc. They make lots of money by putting ads on our content that we created, but they don't compensate generally.
And you came out with this op-ed last year in the Washington Post saying that there needs to be more of a legal and technical way for people to get paid for their contributions to these generative AI models. Mm-hmm. Now we're a year past that op-ed. Do you think we've gotten any closer to that kind of model?
I think we have gotten closer, but we're certainly not there yet. I think we've gotten closer in that people are starting to take notice. People are starting to pay attention and ask questions. How are these AI models built? Oh, everybody's data is going into these models? Well, did they get everybody's permission for that? And if they're making a bunch of money from these models, are they going to pay the people whose data was used to build the models? These questions, I think, are starting to be asked, and asking the question is the first step to getting the answer.
Do you have any other plans to make films in Taiwan?
I would love to, yeah. Well, it's been really inspiring being here, talking to Audrey and the enormous lovely community that she's introduced me to, the GovZero community and the V-Taiwan community. And I do think it would be really inspiring to make a film about some of these ideas and these communities.
That was actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt speaking with TaiwanPlus reporter Chris Gorin. Coming up, leaked documents from Nvidia reveal how the tech company trains its AI from videos on YouTube.
Enjoy the rich diversity of Taiwan's independent music. Taiwan Calling, every Sunday, 9:30 p.m. on TaiwanPlus.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Nobel Peace Prize winning economist Muhammad Yunus has been sworn in as leader of Bangladesh's interim government. He takes over after former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina fled the capital Dhaka following weeks of violent anti-government protests, which started in opposition to a quota system for public jobs. Yunus was a fierce critic of Hasina during her 15-year rule. He was endorsed by student protest leaders and will be tasked with holding new elections for the country's 171 million people. South Korean authorities say they are investigating a North Korean individual who seemingly defected across the heavily guarded sea border. Initial reports had suggested that 2 North Koreans attempted the crossing between the North and South on Thursday, but a South Korean defense minister confirmed that only 1 person was picked up by the country's military. Officials in Seoul say they are investigating the individual's intentions in fleeing to the South. Leaked internal documents from Nvidia reveal the company's straight videos on YouTube to train their AI products. It's a case raising questions about the legal and ethical implications of developing new AI models. To find out more about the Nvidia leak, our reporter Adel Brar spoke to David Bray from US-based think tank, the Stimson Center.
What do the leaked Nvidia documents tell us?
So the Nvidia documents that we've been able to see indicate that Nvidia is actively seeking whatever video data they can find. It looks like they're predominantly going after YouTube, and they're using collated data sets that have links to YouTube videos and actively using whatever programs they can find to both download the videos and also mask the fact that it's coming from, in this case, Nvidia. They're hiding what's called their Internet Protocol address or their IP address to actively do this. It raises interesting questions because it says that they're in this interesting gray zone about what they can and cannot download. And it raises also interesting questions about the sheer energy consumption as well as the respect for whatever data rights of the video producers.
And why is that worrying for the everyday users of the internet?
Because if you remember about a decade, a little bit more ago, there was this idea of Web 2.0. It was this idea that folks could not just consume content and browse content on the internet, but they could also be producers, whether it's with blogs and then later with audio podcasts and then ultimately with video. And so a lot of people have put content out there. Some of that content they put out as part of a ad generating model with different companies, including Google and others, with the expectations that the content producers would be compensated for their content as it was watched. And now by doing this mass download, what happens is the AI is being trained and maybe there is one counted, download towards the content producer, but then the AI is going to use it multiple times in the future with no source of revenue or at least attribution back to the original producers of that video content.
What is being done to ensure that companies like OpenAI, founder of ChatGPT, train their model ethically?
So one of the things we need to do right now is think about how can we give voice to content producers, content creators. And it might very well be that instead of actually expecting companies to do the right thing, we actually need to galvanize content producers to find some way to actually express their perceived contractual rights as content producers.
That was David Bray from the Stimson Center on the recent Nvidia leak. It's never been easy for Chinese-Taiwanese couples to register to marry due to strict regulations on Chinese nationals entering Taiwan. But for same-sex cross-strait partners, it's an impossibility. Reese Ayers met one couple who've been forced to take their relationship to the courts.
A love that persists in the face of adversity. As gay men, Jim and Alvin already face struggles straight couples don't. Neither of them has come out to their families about their sexuality for fear of rejection. And now, as they seek to take their relationship to the next stage, a major legal roadblock. Alvin is from Taiwan, but Jim is from China. And unlike heterosexual couples, cross-strait gay couples are denied the right to marry.
如果我跟他今天不结婚的话，对于我来讲，我没有任何的选择，什么在台湾找工作不可能。然后那我念完博士班了，我也不可能在台湾继续升学。所以从法律上来讲，我没有任何的途径可以继续待在台湾。
That's because it's nearly impossible for Chinese people to get work visas in Taiwan. Instead, Jim has been studying here since 2014. And after meeting Alvin in 2019, the same year Taiwan legalized same-sex marriage, his life gained new purpose.
我自己心里面觉得啦，我在这个世界上应该不太会遇到第二个人，让我觉得就是完全合得来。
But now, as graduation day approaches, the couple are being forced to consider other options.
如果到最后他已经准备要毕业了，我们还不能结婚的时候，对，我们可能就我们有讨论过是不是选择到国外去。
It's not an ideal solution for two people who love living in Taiwan, a relative safe haven for the LGBTQ+ community.
我们两个如果想，我们可以走着走着马上就手牵手，那个都 OK， 那个没问题。我们可以穿一看就是情侣的衣服在大街上。可是如果今天我们去到别的国家，别的可能不太那么性别友善的国家一起生活，那些事情我们其实都没有办法做。
要求平等结婚，要求平等结婚，拒绝。
But there's hope yet for Alvin and Jim. With help from the Taiwan Alliance to Promote Civil Partnership Rights, or TAPCPR, who are campaigning for full equality for queer people, they're taking their case to the courts. One major barrier for cross-strait same-sex couples is that they're denied the right to interview, a core step in the marriage registration process.
所以只要我们的国家愿意开出一个新的面谈的程序，就是专门是给同性伴侣的，那么我们所有的同性伴侣其实就只要按照国家的这个要求来审查你们是真实的伴侣，以及你们的国安是没有疑虑的，那么就跟异性恋是一样的，他们就可以来台结婚。
After submitting their case to the courts in early August, Jim and Alvin are feeling confident.
然后我们是相信法官是会按照法律去考量我们的这个案子，然后并且也是会站在尊重与保障人权的这个立场，然后去审我们的这个案子。所以目前看起来是还蛮有信心的。
If successful, Jim and Alvin will become the first Chinese-Taiwanese gay couple to marry in Taiwan. But their case is just the tip of the iceberg. There are hundreds of same-sex cross-strait couples looking for help from the TAP-CPR.
因为我们群组里有一个可能快是阿嬷级别的人，他跟他的另一半，他每次都会在群组里面哭说，他们还有几年可以活，为什么不让他们在一起？然后他们也是一个在台湾，一个在中国的某个地方。
Unless amendments are made, every such couple will have to sue the state to get married.
So actually, the situation is quite ridiculous. So it's totally administrative barrier, and I think this is kind of a problem of political will.
For now, Jim and Alvin can only wait patiently for the courts to decide their fate, as the fight for full equality continues, even here in Taiwan, a country considered one of the most socially progressive in the world. Justin Wu and Reese Ayres in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, take a look at Taiwanese drag star Nvidia performing at the Cultural Olympiad in Paris. I'm Betty Chen. Take care and see you next time.